Let's give it a whirl. So
You're gonna do great.
You're gonna do great. I promise. I promise. So I think now would be, even though it's kind of out of left field, that is what segues are in a podcast. But after all this time, I think it's finally time to go under the skin of Meyneth. And under the skin is a very, very specific process. We go into imaginary scenarios and all this other shit. But I think most importantly, to continue reminiscing over history that you guys have made for yourself, we're going to get into a scenario where, well, you guys are no longer in your band. You're one of your fans that attended the Anime Fest, and they're just experiencing everything that there was to offer there, including seeing you guys as headlining night concluding set. And, maybe at the merch table, maybe if you guys had the resources, I'm not sure if this was already a thing, but maybe there's a small little merch table and you guys have physicals for Meyneth. And they're like, whoa. But at the same time, like you guys are intending in the first place, it looks more like a video game. So maybe the members, to be members of the Lucrecia Club, they're like, is this a video game? Is this an album? And then one of you guys approaches the table. You're like, oh, yeah, that's absolutely, that's an EP. That's music. Like, whoa, they open it up. You got all these special little things going on inside it. But most importantly, we have this EP cover from the maiden Meyneth herself, which, again, as far as I'm concerned, Miss Suki, you are the real life Meyneth that's just slapped onto the EP cover. It works really well. So if you were to turn this thing over, and I guess this could be an inquiry for your future like game description on the back, what would you say is a summary for the lyrical contents of this EP?
Oh, that's kind of easy because luckily a lot of animes and games have a lot in common. But, well, yeah, I'll let you go first because I feel like I've talked the most.
Okay, so you want me to say like what the overarching lyrical themes are?
Yeah,
or...
like
yeah.
Okay, yeah, no problem.
And if you were to summarize that like a physical DVD case, how they have it on the back, just like in a world, that type of shit. It's like
luckily, I think that a lot of our lyrics kind of do have callbacks.
Yeah.
In themes.
Recurring themes. Yeah, I feel you.
So I think that that's possible because we're drawn. Unfortunately, we're drawn to a lot of similar. We are drawn like moths to a flame to certain ideas and morals and like beliefs.
Yeah, so a lot of our stuff, since it's like rooted in either some type of like game or anime, most of them, actually all of them on Meyneth, yeah. I would say most of it would have a in a world type of vibe. It'd be like something similar to something like maybe what you'd see on the back of a story like Lord of the Rings or like Star Wars.
Oh yeah.
Or even something like Conan, like an epic story, where there's sacrifice of friends that take you along the way. There's like a lot of things. Like each song kind of has its own vibe, but like she said, they kind of have the same kind of overarching themes of hope, triumph, sometimes sadness and sorrow, how to overcome that sadness and sorrow and use it as a fuel.
Loss
To keep you pushing forward. Being unyielding,
fighting for your dreams.
Yeah, and always reaching and grasping towards the future in your dreams.
And you can have like a couple of people that come with you because they also want something deeply. And you guys both have goals. And together you're of course stronger.
Yeah, and even though sometimes along the way that you lose some of those people, that you still carry their dreams with you, and at the end,
they're not dead. They're not forever gone. They're living within you and your dreams.
Yeah, and that when you finally
you gotta get the AC on, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, I bet it's hot.
You know what? I'm a little cooking, but I know I'm not cooking as much as you. Because I'm in Oakland and I can't complain. But go ahead.
But yeah, just generally like and then when you eventually reach those dreams or those ascertain those goals that you were trying to get, that essentially the people that didn't make it are still there, achieving these same dreams vicariously through you. Yeah. So I would say it's like that. It has in a lot of ways, the elements of what you would have like a fantasy journey or an epic, I would say. So something like Star Wars or Lord of the Rings.
Oh, yeah. Frankie Forrest.
Yeah.
You know, venture out.
Oh, great.
And meet along the way of a common goal. Experience loss, experience friendship, experience triumph and overcoming difficulties and obstacles, which make their bond stronger. You know, like that kind of vibe, basically.
Yeah, it's funny
like
because,
anime. You know,
it's funny because the back of
they're
our,
all about all that stuff. Honestly,
the back of our CD Meyneth, actually, the summary is very.
Let me
similar,
read it.
Very
Jesus.
similar to that. Actually,
where is it at? Let me read it. That's my phone.
Yeah,
we got the CDs.
We don't have the physical. We had to write all the stuff
we
out
have
for the artist.
we have the like most of it's done, you know. So I have like the PNGs of it or whatever. I just have my phone. What the? You talking? I'll just like look for it.
But yeah, I would say that's
I literally wrote something. Like, I literally
that's the overarching themes for it.
that was a perfect chance.
Shoot, you might have to take the L on this one.
No, I just saw it.
We're running one time. We can't.
I believe in you.
Okay, we'll just sit up for 1 second.
Okay, I'm gonna stand up for 1 second.
So
right,
so maybe
you should use your phone to call my phone, and then we'll win. Since you don't want to look up on your phone, I got my Pikachu blanket right here. It's like warm as heck. I should have never put it down.
So
yeah,
maybe
one way.
Because I don't have it readily available. I have to search for it, and my drive isn't very good.
Okay, well, he's what the Wolfie's on it. Wolf, my cat Wolfie is on my phone.
Oh,
there we go.
Wolfie.
Back, guys.
Wait. So you said that I can't find it either?
No, you might be able to. I don't know if you saved it on your phone.
Oh, Lord.
It's in the drive folder from what's his name. That's why I said I'm gonna have to go.
What's his name?
Kid. I can think of his name. Artist.
Oh, but it's a link that you sent me, right?
Yeah.
Isn't it a link that you sent me?
I might not have sent it to you. That's the thing.
I saw it.
You guys are doing great. Fantastic.
I saw it.
Just take the L.
He wants me to take the L.
Just take the L.
He wants me to admit defeat.
We got more questions and stuff too.
Okay, get to the other ones while I do this.
So, I mean, kind of listening to what you guys said, it really just takes me back to most of the anime I've watched. And then, you know, with the whole niche of Lucrecia, it is kind of a metalcore take on all of these triumphant narratives. So maybe as similar or in correlation to the back of a book, let alone the back of a DVD case, maybe the quote would be, metalcore finally takes tribute, as in sacrifice. Cool.
Sacrifice.
Sacrifice.
The quote might read something like,
I do have a lyric that says my sacrifice or our sacrifice, or whatever it says. And femto.
You start with behold.
I feel like a lot of people actually like quote our lyrics like all the time. We're like, oh yeah,
shit.
like one of our lyrics.
That's when you know they're good.
Yeah.
Oh, wait,
but I
this
think
it?
the one quote I can kind of conjure is like, behold, metalcore's take and tribute. It's reference to Japanese entertainments.
Yeah, I know. That's why I had to like write 3 different versions.
That's fair.
Sorry, his mic stand is like really fucking squeaky.
I don't know if you can
we
hear
laugh
that.
at
Oh no, I don't.
No, it's silent on our end.
I don't know if they can even hear that. It can. Oh my god! I just realized they can't.
I can't hear it, but that's hilarious.
Every time it moves.
It's like it's like a haunted house's doors. But behold,
Jeez,
metalcore's.
Oh, I know where I can find it. I got it.
Yeah, there we go. Okay, now she can take it. No L.
Oh, my brain. Stop being so good. I'm just kidding. Okay, where is it at? Sign in, baby. I have everything here. Already, I always save things to like 3 different areas because
Gotta
I'm
have backup
nervous about it
destinations.
being deleted.
Destination.
But yeah,
is
feel free to Frank talk or go
There's no
ahead.
question. We're waiting on you.
There's no question. That's it. That's the last question.
No, I haven't been asked yet.
Oh shoot. Okay, hurry up. Okay, I'm
We love you
logging
both.
in. I got it. Just give me 1 second here.
Yeah, you're good. This would be great for audio listeners.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. You're fine. Because we're the
Help me.
the thing is we're laughing too. So
Okay,
it doesn't,
here
it
it
doesn't
is.
help.
Experience Kawaii Core like never before with Lucrecia EP. Join Suki, Frankie, and Forrest on an unforgettable musical journey, redefining the genre with captivating melodies and epic storytelling.
Hey.
Bing, bada, boom, baby.
And then I have one other one. This is the one that I had.
We changed it though.
I had to change it, but this was the original draft of what I wrote on the other part of the CD. Kawaii invasion warning. Unauthorized duplication of the CD may trigger the summoning of Suki, the Kawaii Core idol, who will unleash a whirlwind of cute yet fierce pastel-colored chaos upon you. Brace yourself for an onslaught of irresistible charm, where every note carries the power to melt hearts and spark dance frenzies. Proceed with caution or prepare to be swept away by the adorably unstoppable force that is Suki.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm just so happy. I'm like, yeah, okay, I know actually where I have it. I have it I always like rough draft it also in my Gmail too. So I always have it in drafts. But yeah.
It's worth the wait.
Certified fresh and rotten tomatoes.
A dick spoon, suck it.
Fantastic. Great.
Hey,
ambitious
we had
start.
the biggest pop off in the world when I did. Can I get a hell yeah? Hell yeah. So like people know us for our wrestling references.
Yeah.
So I
Hell
might
yeah.
as well commit.
Hey.
Commit, exactly. Just be like, and from the left corner.
Yeah.
Frankie and
Ding ding
Suki.
ding 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 ding.
Love that
Yeah,
shit.
Suki guns.
Collab with father.
Suki marksman rifles. Ready to take out skinwalkers left and right by the thousands.
Coming soon to Modern Warfare 3.
Oh my gosh, I wish. My dream is to definitely be. I want to be in Fortnite or something for sure. Our guitarist Daisuke wrote 2 or 3 songs for Fortnite.
Wait, let's
Really?
talk about our
Yeah,
talk
I'm
about that afterwards.
serious. And I'm hoping I'm next. So wish me luck, everybody.
I mean, as long as it has some KDA energy behind it, I'm sure they'll love it.
I know the guy kind of connected him, so I'm really crossing my fingers, but
We're manifesting it. Hawaii Core on the charts, taking over your good old Fortnite Halloween this 2020 or something.
2028.
yeah, he made like a couple emails. If I could be an email, I'll be happy.
Fair enough.
Real.
That's pretty close to Western idolization. So there you go. So I think now we should go ahead and jump over to the track listing for Meyneth, because I'm sure there are plenty of stories to be told with this, whether it be upon how the collaborations happened or the lyrical context itself, the lyrical contents. So we start with new types. This is an interlude. There's also some parts. Well, it's not an interlude. It's an intro song, but there are definitely lyrics on it. It's got a little bit of dubstep and some heavy electronic elements.
Yes.
So what is going on? What is going on?
So that's
what
Toki
happened?
is our good friend that we met through Daisuke. He's an electronic EDM artist, and he wrote that song for us because we wanted to collaborate with him. He's collaborated with me a couple times. And so we have, we wanted to do something with him for our stuff. We've been on his songs, and we wanted to be on our songs.
Yeah.
Oh,
So we decided to do this after.
And we met him here in America, by the way. He was studying in SF Where?
Yeah, SF. Yeah.
Where was he studying?
I don't remember, but
I think it was the San Francisco Art Institute. Like, I really think it was that.
Yeah, I think so.
But yeah, we met him here in California in person, and so then he moved back to Japan.
Yeah.
But yeah, he wrote that song, and he's really cool.
Yeah, when we wrote it, we kind of had an idea because Shinji had asked Suki to do.
Shinji, aka Toki, sorry.
Toki, sorry, yeah. She asked Toki to ask her to record a few songs a few years ago. And when she recorded the songs for him, because he was a fan of our music, because he was friends with Daisuke from Pale Dust that was in Lucrecia or is in Lucrecia. So when she recorded the song with them, we asked if he'd be interested in like doing a song with us. And the one thing's like really cool about Japanese people when you're working with them is they kind of have like this like pay it back, pay it forward kind of mentality. So they'll ask you to do them a favor, and they'll be really accommodating to you. It's not like they're just like, yo, do me this favor. Like they'll actually do the favor, but they'll accommodate you. But on the same tip, that because you accommodated them and you helped them out, they'll always do you a solid. So both of our features with both Kaito and
it's like an anime friendship. Like, honestly.
Both of our features with Kaito and Toki were both kind of like this.
Like
really
we don't
funny.
even have to talk, but we just have like this mutual respect and hard work ethic. Like hardworking ethic.
Yeah, so
they're like the easiest to work with.
Yeah, so he was just instantly down. And Toki, like us, is also an otaku. He's really into Gundam.
And J-Rock too.
Yeah, and J-Rock too. But yeah, he happens to be really into Gundam. And when we were thinking of the idea for Meyneth, our intro track, we thought up a song, about Gundam. Me and Suki both big fans of Gundam. Mainly like the Universal Century Gundam and a lot of like the ideas and concepts like it puts forth about humans and stuff like that. So we came up with the idea of writing a song called New Types, which if you're not familiar with Gundam, is like not necessarily like a specific race of people, but it's more like a higher evolved version of
it's like
humans
humanity's next evolution.
Yeah, pretty much.
In their world.
By pretty much by pretty much ascending to space. Like by going to space, they unlocked a new part of their brain, pretty much that humans weren't using before because it just didn't work down here.
Like animals, they'll create, eventually, like, you have these new traits or whatever, right? Then they evolve. Based on your situation or circumstance or whatever. So in space, in this guy's mind, that he wrote it in the 70s, by the way.
Cool.
He believed that we would ascend to these kind of like beings that would be extremely empathetic, and they can feel other people's feelings and pain and sorrow and love and joy. And so it creates a deeper understanding of each other within a second.
Yeah, so when we came up with the idea for this, we had thought about kind of like our song Brotherhood in a way, where we had this concept or idea about humans kind of like understanding each other, even though we naturally kind of have a disconnect, depending whether you're from a different place, a different like background, different social standing. People can always find ways to feel different and like ostracize each other.
Because they're isolated in their own mind. So to break free from those chains, the belief is that if you were to have these things, that we can actually finally be
one, essentially, because one
and kind
because people would be able to understand each other on a more deeper level, where you wouldn't need things like me telling you my story or
there's no miscommunication about
you can just feel it like
there's just and everything is true and legit, so like it's just like there's no in between middle ground where there's lying, deceit. I mean, it's just like all you're feeling this other person like it's your own.
So it's like there's a lot of transparency.
It's really beautiful, honestly. It's like one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen in my life.
So when we made New Types, we kind of thought of this idea of there's a specific Gundam movie that we based the lyrics and the part from. It's this movie called Char's Counterattack, which was like a really prolific movie in the anime world and the Gundam universe, because
famous of all time.
Wrapped up the initial story that they created in the initial Gundam,
like 30 years after or something.
Gundam, the thing about Gundam that's kind of interesting is that unlike stories like Dragon Ball Z, where you have like the same character over and over again, each Gundam, because it's throughout history, it's like Star Wars or Star Trek. I guess closer to like Star Trek, where each Star Trek is like a different cast, different characters in a different period of time, but in the same timeline.
Right.
So in this movie, Char's Counterattack, they kind of wrapped up the story of the initial main character and the main rival from the original Gundam. And this main rival,
And it took like 25 years to.
No, it came out like 10. It came out 10 years later. It
Oh,
was like 10 years,
what?
yeah, because it came out
In
like
the 80s?
yeah, like 1989 or something like that. Yeah, or like early 90s.
Oh wow!
But it was still a while after. It was still a while after.
Honestly, like 1999 or 2000.
No, it was still pretty early because it was at the end of like 80s anime.
But people were hanging on a thread. Okay,
Yeah.
people were waiting many years. That's all I'm trying to say.
So in the film, the rival of the main character, he feels jaded by humans because in the context of the story, he started out as a bad guy, learned the error of his ways, and then tried to turn over a new leaf and be a good guy and try to be a resistance leader and try to teach people like why they should abandon Earth because of all the things that are happening there and just the way people are
treated. Destroying it.
There's a lot of nuance.
Yeah.
But pretty much that they shouldn't stay there. And regardless of how much he showed them the truth, like people still were resistant to change. And because of that, it made him jaded that people would never change, that people would just always repeat the cycle and just always be the same.
You just have these two characters that want the same goal, but one tried this way and it's not working, and the other one tried this way and he believes in this way. And in reality, they all want the same thing, but because they believe that their way is the only way to get to that point, that's why they're at odds.
But
right.
Yeah, essentially, like I was saying, that the one character is jaded. So Suki's first lyrical lines in the song "New Types" is a quote from this character. His name is Shar, and it pretty much talks about how he wants humanity to change, but he doesn't know if they ever will, or when it will happen, or if it ever will, and essentially is giving up. And in the context of the story, the character, he's trying to forcibly make people change by dropping a space colony onto Earth, and
which will decimate.
Yeah, it'll destroy Earth, so then people can't live there anymore. But the main character says,
because they were destroying Earth too, on top of it.
Yeah, and doing war and all kinds of crazy stuff, human stuff. But the main character, he's
human stuff.
He's a good guy, naturally like a good guy, and he believes himself in the will of humans and the ability of humans to change and kind of grow. And says that it's a lot. Essentially, tells the main character or the main rival that it's a lot easier to just assume shit's gonna always be shitty and not try to make a difference versus actually
the harder path. He thinks
taking the harder path and trying to deal with the hard change, but keep pushing forward so that change can happen.
Yeah.
And so that line that I scream after Suki says her stuff, the "I'll believe in the light of the human heart," is a line that he says it's his final line before the character mysteriously dies. Like it's not. It doesn't say that he necessarily dies,
well,
but it's inferred
they both die
within the context of the story. But he makes this ultimate sacrifice, showing that even though people may be complacent, like I'm willing to bet my life on them and sacrifice everything so that they can keep pushing forward and hopefully change. And it was a really inspiring scene.
Yeah, he dies stopping the colony.
Yeah,
from dropping
really,
on
really
Earth.
cool.
Like he's like literally holding it with his Gundam, and just like it's so terrible, honestly, because I really love Amado, but it's inspirational at the same time because he truly believes that, like killing people and doing that way is not the way. Although like he does understand Char a little bit, but it's just complicated. It's complex. That's the whole point. It's just not easy. And there's no really right answer sometimes, but yeah.
But yeah, so when we wrote that song, we kind of had this idea of something similar to New Types, but kind of saying that, although people are resistant to change, that we still believe that people can keep growing, can keep being better. And,
Well, it's easy to say, well, how about I just kill everyone?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the easy path because we're tired of people doing wrong, like terrible things. The harder path is fighting against that and trying to stay in the light.
Yeah.
That's the hard path because I don't have to explain it, but
I think that a lot of people it's the characters, I think, in similar way, like when you think about like characters like Guts and Griffith, they're kind of polarizing in the sense where even though they believe the same things, their ways of going about things are very different. But as a human and someone who's struggled, anybody who's ever struggled with that kind of feeling where you've think people suck, but you want the world to be a good place, like you can kind of relate in that sense because
Yes.
it's, you know, like they said, it's
I
hard.
relate to both.
It's
to be
hard. It's always
honest.
hard to, always maintain the high road and always take the
Yeah.
high road,
Because you just wonder, like, is it ever going to change? You like honestly wonder, like, these people aren't going to change.
Yeah, they keep being crap.
These
but-
people are never going to change. They're going to continue killing each other for land
Yeah.
and money and power. And we're suffering, the civilians, all the innocents are going to suffer forever because humans will never change. War never changes, you know? So I understand
never
the
change.
feeling
Yeah.
that Shar had. I understand how Shar felt because I think a lot of humans have felt that way before if they care. But the right thing to do is to not kill people. So, no matter what, like you try to not drop a colony on Earth.
Yeah. So ultimately, like what we were writing about was kind of just always sticking true and persevering to what you ultimately believe in and not kind of like falling down that path of taking the easier route just because it's easier and, not as hard and may not be as taxing on your soul, but
Yeah.
It's just
And
short song, but remember, I also made like an anime for this. I just don't have the budget for it yet.
Yeah, not yet, but the Lucrecia
in
Club
time.
Patreon, bro. That's probably what's going to be that budget. That's probably going to bring that budget in.
And then like Patreon
So-
could really help.
Exactly. Track 2. I mean, this is the track that really, really started it all for you guys. Is heavy JoJo's Bizarre Adventures references and stuff, the poses, the choreography, the visuals, but most importantly, just musically speaking, such a great song.
Thank you.
Lyrically speaking, what is the story behind Sleeping Slaves of Fate?
Yeah. Do you want to go or do you want me to go? Or...
Yeah, go ahead. I'll just add something.
Okay. So
It's pretty
Sleeping
straightforward.
Slaves of Fate, like you said, is about JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
Part 5.
More specifically, the fifth part, very similar to the way Gundam is. JoJo's on that same kind of tip. It's like an epic. So each season, it follows a different member of the Joestar family and their overall history from like 1860 to now.
And
So
they're
it's like
Italian gangsters, which I love.
so there's a lot of story, but this specific one, like Suki said, focuses on Italian gangsters. And in the premise of the story, the actual literal story, the main character's name is Giorno. He's a thug. He's like a gangster. But even though he's a gangster, he has like a lot of rules and moral codes, which they kind of based on like the romanticized version of a mafioso.
Yeah.
It's very romanticized, but he's still a good guy, even though he's a thug. Like he beats people's
He
asses.
does some bad
He
things.
commits
He
crimes,
kinda
he robs
walks-
people and shit.
He walks the border, but overall, he is a good person.
Yeah, and so he has very, very a hard line on what he thinks is good and bad. And the main gang that is in his area where he's from, is selling drugs to kids and stuff like that. And he thinks preying on kids pretty much is hella bad. He's like, nah, fuck
Yeah,
that.
he like sees like a few kids that are like very young and like one of them, I don't remember, like
They're like addicted to heroin and stuff. It was fucked
they're
up.
addicted and he sees it and he's just like, devastated because obviously it's just messed up. Obviously.
So he in his heart makes a promise to himself that he's going to take this gang down by pretty much
by being within it too.
Yeah, by joining the gang and then essentially making his way all the way to the top of the gang and usurping the leader of the gang.
Become the leader himself.
But the issue with the gang is that no one knows who this leader is. So the story is kind of like a mystery. So in a way, he has to, once he infiltrates the gang, he makes friends with people within the gang and gets them ultimately to defect too, to take on this boss that a lot of people are afraid of. And during
he sells his dream like hella hard to these people. Like, and they're ride or die.
So throughout the story, you see Giorno go through a bunch of trials, battles, and stuff like that with this group of friends. And one thing that's very common in JoJo that you'll see in a lot of like more seinen, which is like older manga for older people, like 17 and older, is there'll be a lot more not like you'll still see death in like anime and stuff like that, like shonen.
Main characters
but
die.
it's like a lot more out of nowhere and it's a lot more real. So you'll see a lot of people like that are part of his gang fall throughout the story. But Giorno, even though these people die, he always talks about how their spirit is always with them, always pushing him forward. And various things will happen throughout the story that I won't give away, but that help him defeat this guy. Like there's a part where the ghost of one of his friends helps push an item that he's trying to get to him so he can get it before the boss. And all these various things, like kind of like what you were talking about, or like Suki was also talking about with the Anime Expo, where it can start out as something very small, like a dream or an idea, and that idea can snowball and get bigger and pull in other people and motivate those people. And your
to
dream
do the right thing too.
Yeah, and your dream becomes,
he also motivated them to do the right thing.
Yeah, ultimately making his dream stronger and just able to, you know, just like cut that path to his dream and where he needs to go.
And he had unwavering determination, which was inspirational to a lot of these people too. And he always was willing to sacrifice his body, and he would literally get his arm broken, ribs broken, punctured lung, like, you know, like messed up, and he would still continue to fight until he gets to that point where he can change things for good.
Yeah. So
while carrying the pain of losing his, you know, best friends, his family, basically.
Yeah.
But
it was very like emotional, like
yeah, it's really good. It's one of my most favorite
like
stories.
Homies, like come on homies, like,
but yeah, so
and I love Journal so much, like he
Journal.
is, like I want to be like that, but I'm not, because he's quiet and cool and I'm like not
silent gangster.
yeah, very silent thug type, but so
and just like pure, but like I don't know. You just gotta watch it. Like it's just so cool.
It's
just
one of those that I have yet to watch. So
Adaki writes these characters throughout the story like just so well. You feel like you're there with them and you love them just as much as like if they're real.
Yeah.
And then I see a lot of myself in these characters as well. He makes them very real, and the story is just really cool too. I just think it's one of the best manga animes of all time is JoJo, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, wrapping up the last part of the song, using that story or idea like Suki was talking about JoJo, we kind of use that as a way to personify like our journey within Lucrecia, because at that point many people didn't know the story or like the lore or like what we had done so far as a band, but even though everybody else didn't know, we know that we started out as just like Suki and then me, and then we had Daisuke, and you know, we had a build up and then we had a fall and a build up and a fall, and you know, there were people that were with us that helped us write songs, people that helped us like promote shows, like various people that have helped us along the way.
And Daisuke said, you know, just the reason why he joined us is because like he felt the same way that they felt when Giorno led them. You know, he just said that he could feel that we have like a fire within us.
Yeah.
And we are, you know, of course loyal to him as well, but besides that we have just that heart, you know, and like that drew him to us, and the reason why he joined us was because of that. And a lot of people say that, you know, Forrest has said the same thing, like the reason why he also joined us is because like he sees the dream, he sees our dream, and it's just it unites people and like inspires people, and it makes them believe that it can happen, you know.
Yeah. And yeah, to sum that up, pretty much that like she was saying, that pretty much every person who's been a part of Lucrecia, who's helped us or felt that dream, whether they're here now or not, that us reaching our end game, they're still there with us. They're still part of, even people who've passed away, like my brother or friends, like I said,
and we're bringing them there to the victory line. Like we're carrying them on our backs to that place, you know, and they can be proud of us. You know, like if they're not here, they're still proud of us if they're here.
Even like I said, if they were a part of us, they know that they were a part of the reason why this has made it this far. That, you know, it's not just all us, that it's, you know, a collective effort from all the people that, you know, believed in this dream or wanted to push this dream forward.
So if I may ask too, like many times when you look at a song at face value, and then you have these deeper contexts that not only have ties to you as people, but it's also inspired by other art that other people have made, and the plots, the narratives that occur inside of those fictional narratives, right? Mm-hmm. Why did you end up naming it Sleeping Slaves of Fate?
Oh, okay. So
it's always hard to name songs. I want to put that out there because
actually this was one that I had since day one, though. I will tell you that I had this one since day one.
I always like we're you know pretty like, it's so important, you know. I feel like naming something, I don't know, I'm very like I'm like very critical of that. So we take a lot of time in consideration to try to feel like what feels like the right name.
Yeah, there was a few songs on the EP that we had trouble with, but Sleeping Saves, I'd say, was one that was pretty easy. In the story of JoJo, this idea of Sleeping Saves a Fate is like the all-encompassing theme of the story. So like the concept that I was talking about how even though people aren't here that were in the band, like for example, like our old guitarist Jacob, who was in a lot of our videos, or Daisuke, or any person that was with us before that isn't here now, or even like people that believe in us, like I said, my brother, that that the idea of Sleeping Saves a Fate is that every person that exists in the world is a sleeping slave of fate, that we are not aware of the path that we're supposed to take in life. And because of that, it's almost like I said, that we're a slave of fate. We're like it literally says, a sleeping slave of fate. Like we're dictating the path that we have to go down. But in JoJo, Giorno was able to, similar to Guts, is able to break outside that causality.
Yes.
By changing fate, by doing things that in the story weren't supposed to happen, but because he was able to pull certain people together and get them on a path that wasn't preordained, that he was able to break this cycle. And the idea of Sleeping Saves a Fate is pretty much, like I said, that us breaking outside that, doing what we need to do to achieve our dreams and get to that goal, and that, you know, like we won't be shackled down by this shit.
In the very last chapter of JoJo Part 5, they question, are we sleeping slaves of fate?
Yeah, because they preface, it's kind of weird because the Sleeping Saves of Fate chapter,
it's cool because in English it has alliteration.
Yeah, it's much cooler in English.
Sleeping slaves, I'm just saying, that's pretty cool.
I thought it sounded cool too. But yeah, the chapter itself is a prequel chapter to the ending. It's like weird. They have the ending, and then they have this one last chapter, the prequel, and they pretty much break down that all the characters' deaths were predetermined in some way, shape, or form. But by Giorno leading them on this path, he was able to either A, keep some of them alive that weren't supposed to die, and as well as change how some of them were supposed to die, make some of them, you know, be more heroic than they maybe would have died if they would have just kept being a regular criminal or something like that.
And it's just like the philosophical question, like they're asking, like, are we sleeping slaves of fate, or, you know, like,
that's actually really clever. Right, because I mean, it's very, very specific, and the way that it just flows as a song name, it just always intrigued me. I'm like, what does that mean?
It must be as a line, man. It stuck out. Like when we read that line, because we read the manga first.
Yes.
It just, it stuck out because in English it was translated so well, and we read fan translations of it, and the fan translations are always better, honestly, to be honest, because they're just not cheaply made. They're made with passion and care, and they're translated Japanese, which is very difficult to translate. And coincidentally, also is alliteration, which I love.
Yeah.
And it just rolled off the tongue. So we're like, oh yeah.
Yep. So yeah, that's how we got the name Sleeping Saves a Fate.
And I named JoJo Part 5 song. And JoJo Part 5 song doesn't sound quite good, so. But Araki is just an amazing writer. You know, it actually doesn't take much. Like, honestly, I could probably grab 5 or 6 or 7 or 8, 9 song names from JoJo Part 5, and they'd all be amazing because Araki is, you know, a poet.
Yeah.
You know, like, I would say also like Berserk. You know,
Yes. Oh, dude.
He's a poet as well, and I can easily grab so many names from his manga specifically, not the anime, the manga. Like, it'd be easy. Some writers are just so beautifully eloquent.
Yes.
You know, so I don't want to take credit for it because really it's Araki. Like, he's the one who
we borrowed it.
Yeah, but we just saw the beauty in it. You know, that's all. The only difference is we just saw the beauty in everything that he wrote and did, and he puts a lot of similar energy and love into his works as us. So
yes, exactly. Like, obviously, most art, most music today is in reference to another piece of art or music.
Oh yeah, there's nothing original technically.
Dude, yeah. One of my favorite examples recently is this band that another one that I've hosted on the show. They've also skyrocketed since we first hosted them.
Well, that's amazing.
Yes. Their name is Disembodied Tyrant. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with them, but they're definitely making the rounds right now.
Disembodied Tyrant?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll look them up.
Yeah. So let's just say the concluding...
Disembodied something.
Yeah, the concluding
But I
track
remember
on their newest EP, The Poetic Ada, which is in split with the band called Synestia, I'm pretty sure it is in reference to a Mozart song. It's like that da 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 da.
Oh, I think I know what song you're talking about.
So they
I play
this
violin,
dude,
so I should know it.
this dude managed to turn it into deathcore, and
Oh,
it's
that's
worked
Oh, yeah, we like a
so
couple bands that did
well.
that cool shit, actually.
Yes, and I was like, "Hey, I see you. That's Mozart."
Yeah.
So,
I played classical violin, and he played jazz. So like, I love like that kind of stuff. That's why I gravitated towards prog.
yeah,
same.
that's fair.
Yeah.
So,
So that's really cool. We'll check them out.
yeah, track 3 we have Mementos. Now, I think to make the questionnaire or like the specific things we're looking for a little bit more direct, right? First, I would want to ask, like, where'd you get the song name? And then if it is in reference to a narrative, what are the major plots or the major plot devices that connect it to this song by Lucrecia?
Okay.
This one's like kind of easier because although Persona is, you know, still got its deep moments, it's not as deep in my opinion as JoJo.
Right.
So basically, we love this game series called Persona, and specifically, we played part 5, Persona 5, and in that game, because they're all kind of different and how they do things, the characters were called thieves, phantom thieves, and they are able to somehow enter people's hearts.
They're subconscious, essentially.
Wherever you want to determine what that is, but basically where you can change who they are from a bad person to a good person. They enter into their hearts and they enter to what's called a palace, but basically that just means like you can think of it like a maze or just, you know,
It's a
Domain expansion.
of their mind.
yeah,
essentially.
it's like got a lot of security. It's got, you know, it's not going to walk in and you're going to do something. Well, actually, if they are lower level bad guys, they do have very easy. You just walk up to them and you can change their heart. But we're talking about very, very bad people, like major CEOs or like evil, like guarded people that have done a lot of evil in the world. You know, you can enter into their palace, which is their mind or their heart, whatever you believe in, which is obviously the mind, but, you know, sure. And you can, you know, beat them up and forcibly make them change their heart.
Yes.
And when they come to the next day, they are literally a completely different person, and they literally, for example, go up to a podium and will say, "I am sorry, I've done so many bad things," and they're really genuinely upset with themselves. Like, it's real. It's not a lying politician, and because they can actually change their hearts.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I think that's really awesome, and I want to do that in real life. And I wish I had that ability because I totally would do it. I feel like that's the only way to truly make someone change, like, kind of in that sense. But yeah, Mementos is the world that you can enter. Yeah, that's the alternate world. It's called Mementos. And that's where you can enter into these palaces and change the hearts of these evil people. And it is a permanent change. It's
Right.
a permanent change. And it's real, genuine,
Okay. So,
and yeah, it's just freaking awesome. Like, I love
So-
it.
But yeah, so the way it relates to the song as far as lyrical content goes is that when we wrote the song, we I used to play in a band called Plagues of the Armada. We were like more of like a political based like technical deathcore band.
okay.
Yeah.
You get water. I'll be right back.
Okay, for sure. So I've always been kind of think it's important for people to speak out, you know, against things that are wrong, injustices, things like
Corruption.
that.
Yeah.
But one of the problems that I had with my old band is I felt that I felt like a lot of the times when I'd write lyrics for that band, it was like too like bookwormy, or it was like a lot of like facts and statistics, and not really.
Which was cool for tech.
Yeah, it was still cool for what it was, but it wasn't like, I feel like it's not as palatable or digestible. So I wanted to write something in the same kind of veins where we spoke out against our opinion on injustices, but in a way that related to, you know, like otaku culture and stuff like that. And at the time, we just finished Persona 5.
Right.
So pretty much we use the idea of mementos and this and changing people's hearts as a way to kind of personify the way we felt about people out there that treat people poorly and subjugate people or manipulate people or use people and do, you know, just heinous things against other people and kind of telling, you know, these people fuck off pretty much.
Yeah. So if anything, mementos can easily be a reference to Persona 5, but then it goes full circle into saying, man, it's such a cool narrative element. We wish we could make this a real life thing, but until then, we'll just make it into a really catchy metalcore song with a fun.
Yeah, where it's like essentially like a call out song for bad people, but we're using the narrative of Persona 5 to kind of get our feelings across.
Yeah, like a lot of the lyrics, you know, they're real, like, feelings that we have, you know.
Yeah,
like,
of course.
you know, it's just like, it's hard. Like the Gundam route, you know, the Gundam route is like, okay, they become a new type and you can change humanity. Or this imaginary world, you can change their heart. Basically, it's just humans are like hard to change. And my fantasy is often like these things. Like, I wish that I could do more.
Yeah.
As an individual.
And that's
and
fair.
I feel like powerless, and I feel like I can't change anything, you know, like genuinely change them, not just no fake apology type thing.
Yes. Yeah, no, that's I actually really like that because it fulfills the Lucrecia formula genre radically, but then it also kind of digs deeper into a more vulnerable spot of your soul where you're like, I wish I could do more, but people are really complicated.
Exactly.
They can be really strange. So instead, let's kind of like throw hints out into the world of like what our morale is like.
I want to back it up, and I want to stick true to it, and also I want to pay homage to these things that, you know,
Inspires
make me
you.
feel better too. And also, I have a good time playing the game, and I like the music, and overall it's a good game. But I'm just saying, like I really resonate with the idea of being able to change someone's heart, because, you know, like I said, like, you know, you can't just go around killing people, and it's really complicated. And I feel there's a lot of layers, but basically it seems like you understand pretty much. Sorry, Frankie, you want to keep going?
No, that's pretty much it.
I just want to make sure that I am transparent, because, you know, the lyrics, nobody talks about the lyrics actually.
Yeah.
That's where we come in.
I want time to actually talk about it, so I want to make sure that I, you know, I'm transparent, and then who knows, you know, what if people really resonate with what we're saying?
Exactly.
I want to change the world too. Of course I do. I wish I could go in the hearts and change it, but the best thing I could do is make music.
Yeah.
Right. And I mean,
that's my calling.
Yeah, sometimes too, like the same way, I think, kind of speaking upon this and like my interpretations upon it, my kind of deep dive into kind of surreal, but still yet realism. I think to movies like Wonder Woman 84, where you have a very realistic world, but then you have a guy who manages to basically grant wishes. Same thing with Wish, really. But I think
great movie Wish, Master.
Yeah. The Disney
Wish. No, Wish is a different one, right?
Yes. Well, I'm comparing them because of like basically the consequences, the what if consequences of a world where there is a wish granting. I forgot the MacGuffin, something like that. It is the device that allows for wish granting to happen in the first place. But so like, you know, thinking about a wish granting device, and then kind of bringing that into, I wish I could go into like the palaces of people's minds and their hearts and change them for good. I think back to the consequences and the bad things that ended up occurring in Wonder Woman 84 or Wish, when basically people think beyond just one wish or two wishes, or in Wonder Woman 84, where basically this one dude happens to have the ability, when he gets enough money, to give anybody in the world a wish that they want. This could be billionaires. This could be world leaders. Half of them wish that they could just throw nukes at other countries. And you see throughout the entirety of that movie how bad it would be, or how bad it possibly could be.
Granting people their desires.
Yes. Yeah. So I think full circle back to Meyneth, of course, with these elements. It's like, yeah, of course, wishful thinking.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, with like me being 24 now and me being like having this realism kind of swimming in the back of my head, I'm like, yeah, I mean that would be cool, but if you could make a permanent change to someone's heart, who's to say there isn't a bad person who disguises themselves as good, goes into people's palaces?
Funny thing that happens in the game. He kills people. That person literally kills people. But the thieves, because they have to defend.
It's only one guy though, at least.
Yeah, but you're right though. There is
and
something.
there's 5 or 6 good people, so technically it feels good. But
may I ask if
I actually like that character because he actually he's a little complicated. He's not so just a bad guy, right? I don't want to throw him under the bus. I like him.
Fair enough.
He was just had a shitty, it's like Char. He just thought he was, he's just misguided.
You had a question?
Oh, I think I lost track of the question actually.
It's okay.
No, okay, I remembered it, and this also works because it references a Smash. Is the bad character who goes into people's palaces and infiltrates their minds and all this other stuff, does bad things. Is that Joker or is Joker?
He's a good guy.
He's the main character.
He's the main goodie. He's a good boy.
Yeah, he doesn't kill anybody. He just wants to change people just for the better, so that they can confess to their own crimes and go about it the proper way. But it's his rival though. It's Joker's rival though. So Joker's rival in the story is the bad guy.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, I think we should definitely move on because I mean we're halfway through the EP. There's plenty.
Yeah, we're making good progress.
Totally sitting on all my pillows.
Track 4, we have the Architect. Same question.
And here he is.
Oh, there's Joker. Definitely does not look like Joaquin Phoenix. He's a little bit more handsome.
Yeah, he's a good boy, and he's fully clothed. I have like the most innocent body pillows you've ever seen.
Right, what about
no nude ones. I know, but I just wanted to make sure I show off my Joker body pillow. The bad guy's name, I don't want to know if I want to spoil it.
No, don't.
No, it's just
Okay, I won't. But I actually like him though, so.
I just smacked my finger on my table. That hurt. Track 4, we have the Architect. What is this in reference to? Why is it named the Architect, and how does it correlate with the creative mindset and just kind of the philosophy of what you guys were thinking of and going through at the time of writing this song?
I'll say something brief actually.
Okay.
So similarly to the other ones, it is based off of a JRPG, a Japanese RPG, like Persona. It's one of the best games I've ever played in my life, actually, and I cried many times playing this game. It has the most beautiful music I've ever heard in my life.
Sweet.
The story is beautiful. The characters are beautiful. I knew we had to write a song about it. Like, I was determined to write a song about it. So I want to pay homage to it, but it has similar themes. Like, there's a crew of people, but this one has a little bit more of a plot twist. I don't want to spoil it for everyone. But I'll let you continue. I just want to say that actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the song kind of relates to the overarching themes of the climax of the story, where kind of similar to what Suki was saying. A group of people wind up on this planet where there are 2 gods that they live on like bugs, essentially.
They literally live on giant beings. It's like super crazy. But it's really cool though. Like literally when you travel on the map, you're like going from the foot to the chest, and it's like hilarious. But it's like also really cool.
So
cool.
So you're pretty much
they're really huge. You're like on Jupiter basically. You're on a Jupiter planet, but you are on a smaller being on a Jupiter planet. So it's kind of crazy, kind of abstract and weird, but yeah.
Yeah.
But so you're kind of like on these 2
Mechonis and Bionis.
These 2 these gods, and on each god essentially. There
Who
are two different
Meyneth is
races.
from, by the way. I want to
There's
say
two
Meyneth
different
is from there.
races of people. One of like regular like human descent, and then this other one that's like a biomech, kind of like the Borg, kind of, I guess, in a way. Like they're
Yeah, if you
robots,
know
but
the
they're also
Borg.
human-like, and they've been like warring for a long time. And throughout the story, there's like a lot of plot twists, and you find out they're trying to uncover the reason and the lore behind why these gods and why these people are fighting. And you ultimately find out that one of the gods in specific has control of like the entire universe and
Reality.
and essentially
He literally can start reality however he wants.
yeah, so he essentially will destroy reality after a certain amount of time and then recreate it again, because I guess he says that a certain amount of time that people start rebelling against him and stuff like that. And so these people, they feel that it's unfair that they don't have a choice in whether they live or die, that they pretty much are like on this predetermined like path towards death. And so the characters, similar to like the JoJo one, decide to defy destiny and fight this god and defeat the god. And in turn, the main character finds out that he is actually a personification of this god, and that he can, essentially do the same thing, that he can also create his own world and stuff like that. And so the idea within the lyrics of Architect and how this relates was more so being like snubbed or like pushed down or oppressed by somebody bigger than you. Not necessarily physically, it could be anything. It could be somebody that has more power, more push. It could be somebody like somebody in the scene, somebody online, just somebody that generally is like shoves their fucking weight around for the most part. And kind of not yielding to that and persevering and always overcoming no matter what, essentially. Like the same kind of ideals, because like I said, we have this like reoccurring theme of like constantly persevering.
And like overcoming fate and overcoming like literally a lyric, like, and we have this like little segment that plays in our live show that plays right before the song, and
it's like a soundbite from the game.
Yeah, it's Shulk talking to my character. He's also in Smash, if you know Smash. And he says, if I wanted to walk the predetermined path, what's after that?
He said I wouldn't have come this far.
Yeah, if I wanted to walk the predetermined path, I wouldn't have come this far. And yeah, that game is just full of everything. So like, yeah, it's just pretty easy.
It's funny because actually I quoted that lyric actually in the song. That lyric is actually in the song too. But yeah, so pretty much that regardless of what comes our way, we'll always find a way to persevere and keep pushing forward. And no matter who, and we've dealt, like, we try not to talk about people that we've dealt with that are shitty before, but we've most definitely dealt with our fair share of shitty people, whether it's people trying to take advantage of us as managers, people that try to throw like record deals at us that were like shitty as fuck in my opinion, people that have tried to just within the scene try to control our band or try to minimize our push or like stop our push, and just random just like annoying stuff like that, so to speak. Like again, we don't normally speak on this stuff, but we deal with it, and it comes out a little bit through the music, and it in a way was kind of letting people know, like the people that said fuck your anime style, or all this silly stuff like that we're gonna keep going, we're gonna keep pushing, and like that's not gonna stop us, and we'll overcome, and we'll show those people that thought they had their thumb on us that we're really the ones on top, and that we're gonna keep persevering, keep striding higher and higher and higher.
I got one.
Oh yeah,
go for it.
I have something that links it to also to me and Frankie as human beings. Me and Frankie came from like a pretty, hard childhood, and for example, I was in foster care and stuff like that, and I constantly had kind of to overcome a lot of these struggles on my own. So in my way, I know it's like linked with us directly as well. It's not just the game. It's like we resonate with these things because we've had to do it ourselves many times.
Yeah.
And I want to mention that because there might be somebody out there that also has similar background. But yeah, we are directly linked to overcoming situations and obstacles that even as a kid I had no choice in. I had no choice in the matter, but you keep going, you keep fighting, and you keep, fighting for your dream because you believe in it and you want it and you want to make the world a better place and all that. And that's pretty much Shulk. Like, he wants to make the world a better place, and yeah, everything.
Yeah.
Sure. And he had to overcome a lot of terrible things himself. So that's probably a common theme with us because, unfortunately it's just really like deep within our roots as children. difficulties that we've had to endure and overcome and make it to where we are today.
Naturally.
But yeah, that's pretty much Xenoblade, honestly.
Cool. Track 5, we have Chapter Black with Tom Barber. Both of Chelsea Grin and Darko. As you know, basically, it seems that all of these tracks, like you guys said at the very beginning, but for the sake of confirming, that's kind of what we did throughout this Under the Skin segment in this session of the Anatomy podcast. It seems that Meyneth, it provides a theme of triumph.
Yeah, pretty much. That's what I was trying to say. Like,
Yeah.
we do have very common themes with that because it's really important and deeply embedded in us. So, and that's why you resonate with anime and games a lot, because in anime and games, like, people often have to overcome really terrible circumstances. You know, some of them lost everything. Like, yeah. So that's kind of like a common theme, honestly. Yeah. So
Right. So then Chapter Black, you know, featuring Tom Barber of Chelsea Grin and Darko. What is Chapter Black meant to tell about triumph? Like, what are we triumphing, like being triumphant through or for in this song specifically?
I was inspired by Yu Hakusho, which is one of my favorite animes of all time, and one of the first animes I've seen as a kid. And this episode, the character watches this tape of, so it's a magical tape, and it has all of human monstrosities and atrocities on it somehow. It's a magical tape. And yes, it's VHS. They didn't have DVDs yet. It's made in a long time ago. This anime's old. But yeah, you know, when the kid is talking about it, he's like 16 or 15 years old, and you know, he's crying. The main character Yusuke says, "Why did you join the demons, bro? They're the bad guys." And he's like, you know, crying. He's like shaking. He's like, "You need to see this tape. You need to see this fucking tape of humans doing these terrible things, not only to other humans, but to other demons too, like, you know, raping and killing." Okay. And you know, he just felt very conflicted and confused, and I just felt really bad for him. And that episode like really resonated with me and Frankie. It made us like very emotional, I'd say. For me, sure. I don't know if it made you emotional, but for me, it made me really emotional.
I felt like the character. I wouldn't say emotional, but I felt what the character was saying.
I felt emotional because, you know, thinking of everything that humans done, it's really terrible, and a lot of innocents die without a chance at having any kind of decent life, you know? Like, you could think of Vietnam War, and you could think of all the innocents that were raped and killed, and, you know, not to drop the hard R, but, you know, it's true. And yeah, it's just like reality. I wanted to make sure that we wrote something that kind of really put it in people's faces, like, I don't know, try to like put it in their face, I guess, and you can feel like confront these things.
So in a way, to answer your question directly, that I would say out of all the songs, this song is actually like the polarizing opposite of Tramp. It actually is like one of the few songs. I think the last two songs are the only ones that are kind of have that kind of feel. Like Suki was saying, Chapter Black, it was actually the first song we wrote off Meyneth, actually.
Oh shit.
Yeah, when we first started demoing out songs, it had kind of a different kind of vibe. It had more of like a tech deathcore kind of vibe.
Yeah.
We wanted to go for this more dissonant kind of ugly kind of vibe once we kind of came up with this idea.
And you want the lyrics to match.
But the idea within the Chapter Black, like you were saying, is that it's this tape that chronologizes like all these terrible things humans have done. And the superstition within and lore within Yu Hakusho is that anybody who watches this tape, no matter how pure the soul, will be tainted and eventually have a black soul, because they're not necessarily corrupted by what they see, but they more so have like an awakening and a realization of how terrible humans can truly be. And this character that was in Yu Hakusho, the main character is the spirit detective. The person that was his predecessor had seen this tape and had gone mad and went pretty much, like she said, fully to the bad side.
And he realized that the people he was fighting for, because he was on the human side, he was like a human like he was on the like you skate like a detective on the human side or whatever. He realized that humans were doing the same things that they're trying to fight against.
Yeah, so essentially that all humans.
And he
were
kind of felt
shitty.
tricked. He felt tricked because he's like fighting for humans, but then they're doing the same thing to demons. Just because they're demons doesn't mean you start doing all these evil things to them, you know, things like that.
So in a way, it would kind of be like the antithesis to a lot of the songs that we have, where in the sense where it's more so actually about giving in to more like innate desires of like anger and things like that, and realizing not so much like kind of like one of those, like there's a lot of characters like this in anime, but like just one that like most people know just off the rip because everybody's seen this movie was like Thanos in the Avengers movies, not so much in the comics, but the movies where he had this whole ideology.
There's a different like written characters.
Yeah, that his whole ideology that life in general, not necessarily just human life, because he is an alien, is purposeless because everyone's gonna die, everyone sucks, and that, you know, it just doesn't really matter anyway. And so we kind of had that same kind of mentality where we kind of visualized ourselves as the main character's name is Sensui, where we were somebody like Sensui who had seen this tape and the feelings that we would feel after viewing this tape and how we wouldn't want humanity to generally just really exist anymore. And it's more so like not things that we generally feel, because I don't ever want anybody to get hurt or anything like that. But I feel like I said, when you think about us as humans, that everybody at a certain point has felt hella angry where they've been like, fuck this person, like I just want to beat this person's ass. Or, you know, and you just want to genuinely give in to these feelings.
Yeah,
but,
like Hitler or somebody like really bad.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, beat up Hitler. Yeah, we can beat up Hitler. But, you know, but just in general though. But you know, like everyone's felt rage before and it's felt anger, and it's more so about like recognizing that people are bad and kind of indulging those ideas, but not really indulging into it.
And imagine seeing like something like a piece of something where you literally see everything that humanity's done on a large scale, like all these wars. I'm talking about all the way from like since humans were walking on two legs, you know, caveman. You know, you've seen every single
era.
Yeah, bipedal era. He said bipedal era.
Yeah, bipedal era is when they got bad, huh?
Yeah.
But like, imagine seeing that, and you're just like, God damn, like what the hell? Like we're horrible, we're terrible. I mean, how could you do these things to innocent people and continue about your day? You're just confused. You're like,
and in a weird way, it comes from the perspective of somebody who is genuinely like empathetic, because you feel for the people that are suffering. Because the song is about people that take advantage of other people. Like
you're angry about it. You're like the Punisher.
Yeah,
like we're like the Punisher.
Yeah, that's kind of a much better way. Yeah, so yeah, because like there's a song, there's a line in the song, it's like right before the Tom Barber line. It's like.
And Tom Barber wrote his lyrics based off what we told him it's about.
He fucks with Yu Hakusho too, so it's
but I think he wrote it first.
Cool.
Oh yeah, he wrote his part before we recorded it, I thought.
Yeah, he said he just watched Yu Hakusho and then wrote it out.
He actually wrote his part before he ever heard our parts.
Yeah, which was pretty cool.
It wasn't recorded yet.
Damn.
But he said
I feel like he got the vibe.
Yeah, he said
like
he fucks with Yu Hakusho, so he got it. But
yeah, he likes anime a lot, actually, in games.
But I kind of lost my train of thought a little bit, but pretty much just to sum it up.
I thought that was really cool.
Okay.
I just wanted to mention, like, he wrote that before hearing our version. I just think, like, he hit the nail on the head.
I feel it. But yeah, so kind of like I said, comes from the perspective of somebody who genuinely feels. Oh yeah, the line. Oh yeah, okay. So there's no. So there's this line that pretty much like, that I think kind of sums up like the overall feelings of somebody who's seen much. It's like Suki and I have this line right before. It's like the breakdown before Tom Barber's breakdown. It's have you ever witnessed death camps full of frightened masses with fearful tear-stained eyes marching in line to their demise? Cavalrymen with galloping horses crushing the innocent under the weight of their unbearable malice. So it's pretty much just like about a bunch of like hateful things that humans do.
Back of my neck.
Hateful things that humans do that make people that are good people, that are empathetic people, feel these same kind of feelings of rage, I guess, is a good way to describe it. And just like kind of like the helplessness that you feel.
Yeah, like see another one, a monstrous bomb wiping away millions of faces who've never once held a weapon. Okay? Just like,
oh, you're muted again.
Oh.
Okay, we're good.
Yeah, I told you I'll do
this.
that.
Could you guys hear us still, or were we muted too?
Yeah. You're good.
Okay, yeah, but yeah, so
that's like my favorite lines, actually.
Mine too, actually.
Of all time, almost. Like, I'm not gonna lie.
But yeah, so pretty much that's what it's about. It's about kind of like that polarizing opposite of persevering and triumph, and just kind of like giving in for the sake of you know, just getting rid of all that bad stuff that's out there. But yeah, it's kind of like that. It's more like a fantasy song. It isn't really much of our true selves and like the things we feel, but I'd say that
humans are dynamic. They have multi-layers.
yeah, that's what I'm going to say too. But, you know, when you feel angry,
just because you feel that way doesn't mean you're evil. You just want the right thing for humans.
yeah, exactly. So that's kind of how I'd sum it up. It's an interesting one. It's very different than what we normally
care about.
Yeah.
The innocents in war. The innocents in war that are always just, you know, shit on.
Yeah.
All the time, right now. You could talk about the Israeli-Palestinian war right now. Innocents. Who's dragged into the shit.
Yeah, but so pretty much that's the general gist of what that song is about and the type of feelings that we're trying to get off our chest.
Like, fuck the politicians. All I care about is the innocent people. I don't care about these evil assholes that stand, you know, far away from the battle and direct people to do their dirty work for them. I'm talking about the innocent people that's always trapped in this cycle of fucking war every time, over and over again.
Yeah. And most importantly, too, what I'm kind of recognizing with Chapter Black, the way that you guys placed this in the EP, it's like, yeah, we're very triumphant, but
yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm human. I got lots of things going on.
The last two songs, they're the ones that, like I said, are the only ones that don't like. They're still about anime, but they're the ones that don't have like that whole like Lucrecia triumphant overcome kind of feeling. They're the two ones that are the out of pocket ones, but I think they serve their purpose though.
They do. They really do, because you can only be so naively triumphant, ambitious,
and
you have these win all the time.
Yeah, we all have those moments.
We all have these moments where, like, man, like these evil people are just really getting under my skin. I wish I could just erase them, like Thanos, you know. But that's a fantasy again, another fantasy. I live in Fantasyland, apparently. But yeah, you know, anger, like the anger I feel when I see these things, or like when I see animals abused or children abused. I'm talking about every day I see things on the news all over the place. I'm just saying, like, this is all my feelings, like, put into this song, the anger I feel all the time. I feel the other side too, but I also feel anger.
This is your tsundere moment.
Yeah. I'm literally tsundere to a T. Like, first they're sour, then they're sweet. Okay.
Yeah. Well,
I think they made it. Like, they must have studied me or something, and they made the tsundere. I swear to God.
Like this one right here. This one right here.
Get her. We need to study her for the tsundere formula.
Like, what the heck? They're describing me to a T. Sometimes I just want to beat people up, and sometimes you know, I want to take the higher road. It depends.
Yeah,
it depends on the person.
I mean, I'd like to think that the right people all think on that same level. They want to be optimistic. They want to have that silver lining, but eventually, like good old Guts, or maybe even Luffy from, you know,
it's called being human, and it's hard. All right.
Yes.
It's difficult, especially if you care about things.
Yeah. When you have a soul, that complicates things.
Yeah.
Most definitely.
I'm a very passionate person. Exactly.
But that's why Lucrecia sounds as good as it does. So
I hope so. No one talks about the lyrics, so I'm glad we're talking about it. I'm about to put this all over our Instagram.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
I'm serious. Nobody ever asks me. I'm waiting every day. I'm like, somebody come up to me, ask me about these lyrics. They mean so much to me. Like, there's a message, you know?
Yeah.
But, yeah. So I'm definitely going to use these clips.
And I appreciate an artist and a musician, a lyricist who has so much substance to their work, because that's what this podcast is supposed to be based upon. Not we just thought the band name was like super cool. There's not really many meaning behind it.
I'm like half and half. I think it sounds cool, and then there's like also a deep 20-minute long discussion, which you have found out right today.
Yeah.
That's what
about every decision I've ever made.
So track 6, this is definitely a sadder one.
Finale.
You know, a heavier one, but like nonetheless, I think it's why it's such a compelling finale. It's such a perfect finale to the EP. It's like this is like what we got for now, but we're gonna make you cry before you finish this EP.
I hope so. I wanted to make
Yeah.
people cry with this. Actually, I tried I actually like deliberately wanted to make sure I made people cry, but in a good way, you know.
Yeah, I
In
know.
a good way.
I don't know if you guys saw my reaction, but I think I did during the song. It was hard. It was hard to listen to. I could feel your pain coming through. And the thing is, like on a more personal level, we dealt with the death in the extended family very recently, similar circumstances. So like listening to this song again tonight, I'm not sure if you guys could tell while we were listening to it, but like I couldn't even really just like bop my head around. We were just kind of thinking back upon that because it wasn't too long ago that this occurred.
Yeah.
So now we have
And what's wrong, anyways? It feels like yesterday.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there's the time is like warped.
Yeah.
You know, it feels like yesterday these things happen. That's why when people tell me 1 year ago, 2 days ago, I mean, it's just all like still feels like it's fresh.
Yeah.
We played a show with Unprocessed a few weeks ago in San Francisco, and I've done this recently a couple of times at our shows because lately I've been trying to talk about the song before I perform it because I'm trying to make sure I reach people that might have had something like this happen to them.
Yeah.
And so that they maybe just connect with it a little bit more. I've had a few people come up to me since I've started doing that and say that, hey, I lost so-and-so, or I lost my dad, I lost my brother, you know, terrible things. And they said that, you know, I started tearing up or I started crying, or, you know, each of their stories are different. But in a good way, they're trying to tell me, though, that they felt like seen.
Yes.
You know?
You felt acknowledged.
Yeah, I felt like like I'm holding their hand, you know, kind of thing.
Yeah.
We're holding their hand. So, yeah, lately I've been talking about Jonathan's death and how coincidentally, like, we wrote originally about this, but then it kind of blossomed into another thing, which was like, we lost Jonathan. And, yeah, it was like originally just about a movie, which still sucked because it's based off a biography anyways.
Yeah.
True story.
There was some purpose behind it before.
Well, losing people, but I never lost anyone like that before. I lost extended family members, but I don't have family.
Right.
So I didn't know these people that died very well. You know, I was sad, but I didn't know them very well. Like Frankie's lost quite a few people that are close to him, unfortunately. You know, so Frankie has actual experience with this before Jonathan passed away. But I am an empathetic person, and, you know, I watched a movie and I told Frankie to watch the movie, but I didn't tell him what it was about. I just said, oh, it's another Ghibli movie, and like tricked him. And yeah, it's another Ghibli, Princess Mononoke, Howl's Moving Castle. Ooh, you know, it's gonna be innocent and fun. And yeah, I know, but I didn't want to tell him because I wanted him to feel it 100%, like I felt it, like raw. You know, like
Yeah.
you care the most.
You suffer as I will suffer.
Yes, you'll care about it. You'll care
Yeah.
about it. You'll feel for the characters. And then, like
Yeah.
I said, this is based off a biography. He really lost his little sister. She died of starvation, pretty much malnourishment. And it's based off a true story in World War II Japan. Like after we fucking bombed them, like there's other sides to these things, and like, you know, I wanted to share that with the world. And war sucks is my point, and there's always going to be innocents that have nothing to do with it that suffer. And so that's why we originally wrote it. But yeah, sorry.
Not entirely. So the original reason I wrote it was Suki showed me the movie a few years ago, actually like a while ago. So when we
It
wrote
was like 8 years ago.
yeah, it was like 8 years ago when I
We
first saw
haven't
the movie.
seen it, by the way.
It was
What's
like
up?
7 years ago or something.
We haven't seen Grave of the Fireflies yet.
Oh, okay. I won't spoil it. But you should watch it. It's really, really good. So when
I'm
I
sure.
saw the film, it was really sad, but it moved me a
I
lot.
usually don't tell even that
Yeah.
much, so you're lucky.
It moved me a lot. Like I cried, genuinely. But I found a really, really, really deep love and enamorment for the film, despite it being so sad. There is
That's the
some
purpose of
there's
it.
some happy elements to the film in the ending, but not necessarily. It can be. It just depends on how you perceive it. But I think overall, most people perceive it as a nice ending, even though the ending is sad. But
Yeah.
with that being said, though, it outside of the ideas of like war and like the literal things that are happening in the film, it kind of shows you, first off, the bonds of love, mainly familial love, obviously, but it shows you the bonds of love and how far people are willing to go for each other. And then also the pain that you feel when you lose somebody, when somebody dies. And like Suki was saying, my mom committed suicide when I was like 17. So I've lost, my fair share amount of people, and I've lost a lot of other people too that I care about. But I'm very familiar with like the pain of losing somebody and like what it genuinely feels like to have someone you really truly care about just be gone forever. Yeah. And when she showed me that movie, it really touched me. Like the main character's name is Seita, but the love that Seita has for his sister in the film was just so moving.
And we're both older siblings too. Like we both are the oldest in our family.
Yeah, I'm sure you feel it.
So we have understanding of what it's like to be the older sibling, to take care of them, protect them, and make sure they're okay, and the love that you can have for that sibling,
Yeah, but so it really touched me, and so I felt that like when we were going over songs, like when we write just write in general, we will come up with initial ideas for songs, like concepts, like this song's gonna be a heavy song, this one's gonna be a soft song, this song's gonna be this, that, or the other. And our soft song, we didn't have an idea for what we were gonna write about yet. And like I said, all of our songs are generally based on something that we find endearing.
Well, I have lots of inspiration.
Yeah, so we kind of like will bounce.
I find inspiration in lots of things.
Yeah, so we'll bounce ideas and stuff like that. And I brought up Grave of the Fireflies because I thought that I had already written a song about my mom passing when we first started. This song called Antipathy and Dismay. It was about Hunter x Hunter and about a character that dies in Hunter x Hunter, and I personified the feelings that this character feels in more so directed
towards
my mom.
It all comes from real life situations anyway.
Yeah, but I wanted to write another song about it, not so much about my mom herself, but more so like the feelings that you have when someone you love dies. So like Suki said, so that other people that go through those types of things can find solace in the song. So it was interesting because like Suki said, she's never actually at that time had lost somebody that she cared about.
That was close to me, I mean.
Yeah, that was close to her.
Like really close.
But because she's empathetic, she was able to take a lot of the feelings from the movie and then take a lot of the things that I told her that I wanted to write about and the things that I took from the film, and was able to personify those into the lyrics. Out of all the songs, so as a side note, on a lot of the songs, like the way we write lyrics is kind of back and forth. Like I'll do a lot of work and then she'll do a lot of work.
Oh, right, like our whole version.
Yeah, it's like 3 pages long.
Like,
some crazy
a long section, and he'll write his own long section.
Yeah, and then we'll kind of amalgamate them together.
Best lyrics out of them
and try to find the voice or like the idea, and then amalgamate them and then revise as necessary so that it becomes one cohesive thought.
We cherry pick
But with Grave of the Fireflies, it was kind of different because Suki, because of the complex aspect of like writing singing sections, I kind of just leave that up to her because I don't really have any knowledge or skill or any kind of training when it comes to clean singing. So I just assumed that being a knowledgeable and well-seasoned musician, that she could do this on her own. So I kind of just conveyed like the thoughts and ideas and feelings that I had felt about this situation, and she kind of just like put it forth there on the paper, even though she'd never really felt those things. And so we recorded the song and stuff like that. And when we were making Meyneth, we had come up with the whole like video release strategy thing, and kind of decided that we were going to release stuff in like episodically, essentially, or like singles. And Grave of the Fireflies was one of the ones we were going to put out somewhere in the middle, kind of balance out Mementos, because Mementos was pretty heavy and we wanted to keep a good balance. And somewhere around that time, in 2021, like right after we had released either right after we released Mementos or right before we released Mementos, I think it was right after.
A couple of days before my birthday.
Yeah, okay, so it was after. My brother.
20,
yeah, in September. Yeah, because we released Mementos in April.
Yeah.
My brother ended up passing away from the fentanyl overdose or fentanyl poisoning.
It was really hard.
And
to keep on track.
So we, we put together a funeral for him because my family, my brother, he's from Utah, so he's from a couple states over. So we put a funeral together for him here in the Bay Area, and when we did that, people have to give speeches and do stuff like that, and like priest gives a sermon, and then people do all kinds of.
And it costs $10,000 and everything.
But pretty much one of the things that we decided we thought would be kind of nice was when my Lolo, that's grandpa in Filipino, when he passed away, my cousin, she sang a song that he really liked a lot, this Frank Sinatra song that he liked a lot, and dedicated to him, and it was really, really nice. And so I wanted to do something like that for my brother, so I asked Suki and like everybody in Lucrecia if they would be open to doing like an unplugged version of Grave of the Fireflies, at his funeral. So, and we had never played the song yet before either. So everybody agreed to it because my brother was one of our biggest supporters, like from day one. He'd always supported us, came to all our shows, would drive down from Utah with friends of his in his car to come to our shows, and just ridiculous stuff like that. So we felt it was really important to try to show as much love and respect as we could to him. Not just for being my brother, but just for being always being there. So we played the song, and it was really, really hard. Suki, she'll probably talk about it, but she had to sing it. It was pretty rough. It was pretty rough feeling inside, but it gave us a lot of freedom afterwards, I'd say. We felt really free. And then after that, the song kind of shaped its own form into becoming the song that encapsulated a lot of the feelings that we all felt about my brother passing. And even though Suki never had felt these feelings before due to her not experiencing the death of somebody close, that the very song that she had wrote about a made-up person became about my brother, and all the things fit. And so from there, it just has been about him. So we've kind of made the shift and focus still being about, if you have somebody that you've lost, we know what it feels like, but now it's a lot more concrete. It's not just, me losing my mom, it's all of us losing somebody we all care about, and kind of carrying that. But
he lived with us. I mean, he was my little brother in a separated way, not as much as Frankie. Frankie grew up with him, but of course, because that's his actual brother, blood. And so Frankie, I probably don't hold a candle to how Frankie feels, and that's okay. I accept that. That's no problem for me. But it was the closest thing I had to losing someone. That especially because he was so young, it's still hard for me to accept. But so now when I try to dedicate that song every time live to him. And I've had a lot of people come up to me after the show and say that touched me. I was tearing up, I was crying, whatever. I'm not trying to make people cry, but they just I hope that they feel the same way I feel. And that's more so, like I said, that I'm holding their hand. And a few weeks ago, my girlfriend came up to me, my friend. She said, "Oh, this month is the 1-year anniversary of my dad dying." So it especially kind of hit me hard, but she didn't mean it in a bad way. She just said, I know what she meant. Without words, I knew what she meant. So kind of crazy how this song originally was about this movie, but in real life story. It's
So, but it was kind of crazy how the whole thing kind of happened. But I'm happy that we were able to write that song for the CD, because when the time came for it, it really it didn't really have a voice, I'd say, or it didn't really have it had a purpose, but not really a purpose. But then once my brother passed, I felt like its true purpose really showed itself. It revealed itself to us almost in a way.
Yeah, I felt kind of sickeningly like that. Bittersweet.
Yeah.
It was very bittersweet. But yeah, I just tell people I hope that it helps bring them solace.
Yeah. I think what would be really, really, really important is, to those who may be listening to this podcast session right now, let's just kind of give a moment of silence to what is a very, very bad epidemic going on across the country right now. And with that moment of silence, I think one thing I'm going to look into is making sure that there are various hotlines and stuff in the description for this podcast session, because this session, this podcast, this show is meant to get as deep as possible, but also not like trespass boundaries of human psychology and make anybody uncomfortable. But this is unfortunately a big issue right now. And I remember when this song first came out, I felt bad enough. I felt bad enough for you guys that you guys dealt with the loss that you did. But then you hear all the stories. You see these folks who are actively doing fentanyl on the streets, and they're folded over. It is such a sad thing to see, to witness, and then to understand that people are making profit off of this, and that innocent people are getting mixed into it, and now we have a personal tether to it.
It's crazy how there's people out there that are surviving doing fentanyl, and then, but I'm not comparing at all. I'm just saying that it's crazy how people are out there doing actively fentanyl, and then not surviving, but they have been able to do it a few times at least. And then there's some people that had it laced in a pill and they're instantly fucking dead.
Yeah.
And it's just like this wide range of pain and sorrow. People actively addicted to it. People poisoned because it's laced. And we also had a friend, unfortunately, a friend, his brother. I think it's important to mention because you never know. And we are friendly with 420, but I'm just saying that his brother had it laced with fentanyl, and what the heck, you're not even making money off of that one.
Yeah.
So it's kind of crazy how wide the range is. It's like really terrible, and then that's why we want to make sure we did that video. And we were actually trying to do some grandiose stuff, which I still regret this, but it was just impossible. We wanted to have interviews with people who experienced the same thing as us, where we actually talked to a few people, like there's 16-year-old daughter or whatever, it doesn't matter who, but they bought some pills off somebody, and then he was laced with fentanyl and only took 10 minutes, and she's dead on the floor. A 16-year-old girl never either did pills before or never did pills before. It doesn't matter. The fact is that it was no chance.
Yeah.
And we wanted to do this interview style, who did that?
Yeah, so we were inspired. So just on a side note real quick.
I think it's important to talk about
I
this.
forgot about that actually. That was actually kind of
I think this is really important,
So
suicide. They were talking about suicide.
Yeah, we were inspired by this old Good Charlotte video called
Good Charlotte. I was a big fan growing up as a little girl. And yes, they had this beautiful video, and it is horrible, but I'm saying beautiful that they did this. And they had these interviews of parents and
survivors
lovers
and people,
talking about, and they hold a picture up of the person they lost, and they talk about them. And at the time, fentanyl was so demonized, man. And it doesn't matter if people are addicted to it or not, but they're just totally assuming that every single person is some fentanyl addict. They deserve it. And I was like, these are all kinds of people. These are regular people. These are people that you love, I love. And it's not always, and it's still terrible that they're doing fentanyl. I'm not saying nothing about them, but I'm saying laced fentanyl, specifically. Yeah. They're unaware of it, and they're demonizing them like they're not human beings. So it was very important for me and Frankie at the time to get people to understand, because I had so many hateful comments. Talking about, oh, well, he shouldn't have been addicted. I say, he didn't do fentanyl. He did Xanax, okay? I'm not saying that's any better. I'm just saying that that's messed up. And he didn't know. He wouldn't have done it. He obviously, he's not even interested in that. He just wants to do Xannies. That was his problem. That's what we try to fight every day with him, We try to help him every day. It was horrible. But anyways, besides that, it was an addiction to Xanax. And it was laced. I mean, it was terrible. And he's a human being, and he's a nice person. I just wanted to show these people the way that Good Charlotte showed.
Yeah, by humanizing these people
Yeah,
and
showing
them
them their
that.
story. Like,
Yeah, because sadly, like she
he
was
loves
saying that-
skateboarding. That's why we showed all those clips of him at the end. All those clips. Look at him.
I mean, I've
being silly, being funny.
yeah, I can easily say from experience that I've been laced before, not with
sorry
fentanyl,
that happened.
but I've been
It's
laced.
terrible when anything is laced
Yeah,
because
it's,
it takes you by surprise.
I am surprised that I got through it as well as I did.
I'm
Whatever
glad you're
it
okay,
was,
man.
Me too.
yeah, like whatever it was, auditory hallucinations, like
Oh Lord.
it was, dude, like hearing the devil laughing at me out
Yeah.
in like the desert when there's no one there, as if
And
I'm
now
in
you're permanently scared of this. You know, like you
Yeah.
have PTSD now. You know, maybe not you, but in general, a lot of people
Right,
have
right.
PTSD.
yeah. So it's
And now you don't trust anything. Like it's just terrible.
yeah, it's not right. So I mean, if you guys want, we can definitely figure out something if you want, and if you want my help in that situation, because I'd be more than willing to do something like that. Work with you guys on that. Let's bring awareness to how bad this has been for a lot of people, including us.
Yeah.
I know, like the musician Jelly Roll, like, you know, as silly as the name is, he went to court because he had family, he had relatives who died from fentanyl as well. And the worst part about it is, like, it is definitely imported not from here, like it's from faraway places, but they profit off of this kind of ambush substance
Yeah.
that's coming in. It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
Keep this
they
shit out of
found pounds upon pounds upon pounds upon pounds upon pounds, which means if they found that many, then it's already distributed just as much.
Yeah.
You know, like it's
Exactly.
already on the streets. Like that's why I made all my friends, you know, because like I said, I have all kinds of friends. I have nerd friends. I have all kinds of friends. I know as long as you don't hurt anybody, I'm not going to tell you what to do. As long as you don't hurt anyone. I have friends that do like to dabble in things, and I tell them they have to have. I said, please have these backup things just in case, you know, like you don't care, but I care, you know, like just please have these in your backpack, have the pen, whatever, have a couple pens, like, you know, please, if you're going to do this, at least
Be
have
safe.
these things just in case.
Yeah.
They also, we try to work with people like the distribute the testing strips, you know, so that they can test everything that they bought, you know, because you're not going to stop people from doing those things.
No.
The best thing you could do is at least give them the tools so that they can avoid being murdered.
Yeah.
You know, straight up murdered. You know, I'm not perfect. I drink beer. I smoke weed, truthfully. I mean, that doesn't mean you should just get killed for it. I mean,
No.
Yeah.
it's already bad enough you might be addicted to something, and then these people are taking advantage of them by making these cheap alternatives.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I mean, whether it's knowingly or unknowingly consumed
yeah,
fentanyl, like it's unfair to not only
yeah,
the person
exactly.
who's consumed it, but their families and the people that they care about, or the people
Yes.
who care about them. Like it's not fair the effect that such a little dose
Yes.
of something can have.
Yeah,
Like it can have such a big fucking effect. Whether it's knowingly or unknowingly consumed.
yeah.
It's
That's
not
my feeling too. It doesn't take a lot. Yeah, that's the terrible part. Exactly. I agree 100%. I mean,
it's terrifying.
it's got a lot. I mean, after we made that video, people are a lot more aware of it now, which is good, but bad because it means a lot more people died. But at the same time, it is good because we literally had mean comments and it was horrible.
Yeah.
Assuming what happened, assuming about these people, like demonizing them. And so that's why we were inspired by that video.
Yeah.
Because they portrayed him in this beautiful light. Like that, you know, that little boy who took his life away, what was it, a week ago or so. He was only like, 8 years old? But from bullying. I'm just saying, like, you know, and his family talked about him, held up his picture. That's how you get people to stop, hopefully, being pieces of crap, you know? Like, you could comment all these mean things, but then you're like, oh, he's just a sweet little boy. Like, he didn't deserve this. You know, look at him. And then they talk about his favorite things to do.
I think you guys might be muted again.
Sorry, go ahead. Oh, not yet. It's not working yet.
Not yet.
Yeah.
There we go. All right.
Ah.
I'm gonna use the restroom really quick.
Okay.
I'll be back in 2 seconds. But you guys continue, okay?
Okay.
I
So
talked
go
a
to the
lot.
restroom real
I
fast.
talked a lot.
It's okay.
I mean, plenty of time for semi-truck drivers on the road. Plenty of stuff for them to listen to. So that's kind of it's one of many points. But, yeah, 4 hours.
4 hours.
Yeah.
I'm so ready to go to bed.
If you want to, you can check out.
No.
It's not good. I have a flight I have to catch it at 5:30 in the morning tomorrow. So after this, I'm about to go do laundry and fucking pack all my shit and stuff.
Oh my God.
I also have to do laundry.
I already
Yeah.
did laundry. We're good to go. I did laundry during work. It's a very.
Yeah, I fucked up. I should have just started it earlier, but I was like, I'll just do it after the podcast. It'll be good. We'll be quick. It ain't gonna be that long. 4 hours later.
Maybe be like 2 hours.
Yeah, my
I'm
homie's
so
like waiting
sorry.
for me to play video games with him and stuff, but it's all good.
I
We're
really
good.
apologize.
I got till 5:30, so
I
as
really
long as I
apologize for all that.
get the laundry done in
No,
time.
you're
I'll be
good. You're good. It's important that we talk about stuff like that, especially when it does correlate with the EP, short version.
Yeah, I
of
just
that.
want to use our platform for as much good as we can because I told you I feel powerless. So like,
Yeah.
I feel like this is like the little things I can do that may not mean much, but who knows?
I heard that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, following right after Under the Skin, because that's basically Under the Skin of
that was
Meyneth.
basically under the skin, right?
Yeah, that was pretty under the skin.
That was under my heart, into my heart.
Yeah. No, that's how deep we
Hey, but
dig.
see, look,
That's how dig we
people,
deep.
That's how dig we
connect, and then we show unity,
Yeah,
and we support each other.
exactly.